Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 26 September 2024. Thursday night at 9. That means it must be time for a knife sale on the Apostle P channel. And a knife sale we shall have. Before we get into the thick of it, let's do a little bit of housekeeping as usual. First up, I need you to be familiar with and agreeable to the terms of the sale. I'm going to post them on the screen for you in just a moment. I will also print them in the description underneath this video. Also in the description, right above the terms of the sale, you're going to see 3 links to previous videos on this channel. The first one is entitled A Primer for Buyers. That's a 38-minute expanded explanation of the terms of the sale. It explains in great detail how we do things and why every Thursday night. So please watch that if you're new. It will make your purchase experience go much more smoothly. The second link is to my FAQs for Consignors video, which would be of interest to you if you're thinking about moving along some of your collection and you'd like to use this weekly sales event to do it. It explains how everything works from the consignor's perspective. And then the third link, as always, is to my rates and services video for the Apostle P Knife Service, the original precision sharpening service for the online knife community. And just as a side note to that, backlog is pretty low, under 3 weeks right now. So this is a great time to send in knives for sharpening. Also in the description at the very bottom, the reason that you all came tonight is the list of tonight's inventory, complete with timestamps on the left, pricing on the right. In that pricing column, you're generally going to see 2 numbers. The one to the left of the slash is the price of your knife as shown in the video. The one on the right is your price as sharpened by the Apostle P Knife Service. There will be room this week for 4 knives to be sharpened next day, and those will ship tomorrow, Friday the 27th, with all of the as shown inventory. If you fall outside those first 4, though, don't worry, just about 3 weeks to get your knife sharpened. If you see the word sold, all caps, exclamation point, in lieu of pricing in that far right column, that means the item you're looking at has been bought and paid for by its new owner. So there's no need to send an inquiry or an I'll take it about anything marked sold. I believe that's it for the preliminaries. Let's get the terms up on the screen for you, and then we'll be right back with the sale. Here are the terms. All right, let's get to it, shall we? First up, got a few leftovers to work through from last week. The first one will show up in your inventory as TRM Atlas scales. So these are factory G10 scales for the Three Rivers Atlas, which is their small fusion knife, the slip joint. You're going to get 1 set of black G10 with those diagonal fine mill stripes, and 1 set of blue. Again, same mill pattern, standard textured G10 except for those light milling lines. Both of these sets are just about like new in condition. Don't know how much you can buy them for. I couldn't find any listing for them anymore on the Three Rivers website. But anyhow, we ran them at $35 last week for both pairs. Dropped them to $25 for the weekend. Just so you guys know, we're going to run these at $20 this week. That's going to cost $10.40 to send priority postage, and my minimum commission is $10 on a sale item. So theoretically, the seller goes in the hole for less than $1 for me to sell these for $20 for them. So somebody please buy them. Next up, okay, we had 2 budget combos last week that we are combining into one this week because neither of them sold. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe, total items in the set. Anyway, here you go. First, you're going to get a Mora Companion that is in basically new condition with no box. You're going to get 2 of this knife, the Queen QN010, the Chinese-made Queen. Nowadays, sad but true. Actually, not a bad knife. It is a serpentine, single-bladed Wharncliffe Jack match striker nail nick. They're calling this saw-cut bone. Bolsters and end caps are stainless steel. The knife is 3 5/8 inches closed. They sell these things brand new for $17, and they're probably better than a lot of post-Bill Howard Titusville built queen knives, if you know what I mean. You're going to get this knife from Ridge Runner. It's a liner lock with a stainless steel blade, black coated. I like the rainbow anodized liners, and then you've got some sort of like black wash scales over top. Not a bad little knife. Great little brother-in-law knife, I think. And then you're going to get a Lansky knife that looks like it was in a big bucket at the counter of a gas station. But hey, what the heck? Great knife for your brother-in-law, right? And then you're going to get this thing. This is a belt dangle with a carabiner, and it says Castrom number 3 dangler. Okay. And then you're going to get this knife from Ruger and CRKT. It's the LCK. A little flipper. Sheep's foot blade. Lurch design. FRN scales, liner lock. I don't think it's on ball bearings. Who cares? And what else we got here? Oh, the unsung hero of this budget lot. You guys are you're sleeping on this one, I'm telling you. What is it? Well, it is an LL Bean multi-tool. And I think somewhere on here, there's your LL Bean right there. Somewhere, I saw a USA stamp, but now I can't find it. Anyway, it's got tools. It's kind of like a Swiss tool a little bit. Let's see if I can fold this thing up correctly. There we go. So yeah, you get all that stuff, all of it. And let me tell you how we priced this. We had these in 2 sale lots last week. That would have been $80 total and then $60 total on Saturday. We're going to do them all for $40. If you want anything sharpened, it's $25. So $40 for that budget combo. After $10 postage, you're paying $30 for 8 things. How can that be wrong? Anyhow, that's the budget combo. Next up, from the ridiculous to the sublime, I have a custom slip joint from T.A. Davison, USA. It is a rather stunning swayback jack with a gimp shield, beautiful pick bone covers. These remind me of those GEC 72s from back about, 2009. Beautifully crafted. Looks like the bolsters are stainless steel as well as the liners. The blade is a pretty nice looking little Wharncliffe in sandblasted CPM 154. Nice walk and talk. Closed length is 3 13/16. If you didn't see this, the liners have a coined edge. There you go. Beautiful walk and talk. Pull weight is about 6.5. Blade centering, pretty squared away. Condition on this will be like new in pouch. This knife was $450 brand new. Oh, I'm sorry, it was way more than that. These are now running like between $600 and $700. We ran it last week at $450. Dropped it to $420 for the weekend. This week, $395 like it is. and then $4.20 if you'd like me to sharpen. That CPM 154 blade. That's the TA Davison custom swayback. Next up, we have a watch left over from last week. Just one. And it's going to be a screaming deal. It's from Seiko, and it is the SNJ031, which is the quartz Ana-Digi Arnie in a very nice muted green. I don't really think I'd call that OD green, but it's more of a soft forest green. LCD digital display at the 12 o'clock, and then you have the squished analog dial. Hardlex crystal. Stainless steel bezel that has been anodized to match the shroud and strap. You have the sort of faux patina loom on this one. Very nice rubber strap. Kind of a smoky anodized buckle and keeper. Dimensions are 48 diameter, 51 lug to lug, only about 14 thick, and then 22 millimeter lug width. 120 click unidirectional bezel, 200 meters of water resist. It even says Divers 200, so it must meet the ISO spec. We're going to call this one near mint to like new in box. Web retail for this watch, $550. Sold listings on eBay between $283 and $560, so obviously that includes some new ones. Condition on this thing, man, hard not to call it like new in box. Even the hardware seems to be free of any real scratches. Yeah, and these keepers usually get pretty scratched up. This one, not at all. So anyhow, we'll call it near mint to like new in box. We ran this last week for $295, got no takers, dropped it to $270 for the weekend. Still here. Let's go $245, shipped priority mail this week on the Seiko SNJ031 Arnie in green. Next up is our last leftover from last week. This is kind of funny. It comes in a DPX gear box, but it is not a DPX gear knife. It's nothing like a DPX gear knife. It is the Case Bose TB71546SS Backpocket. So this is not the annual custom shop Tony Bose case. This is a production Tony Bose case. Beautiful ebony wood covers, script shield, nickel silver bolsters, brass liners, and a gorgeous muskrat clip blade in true sharp stainless steel. A few little superficial scratches, but very nice. Closed length is 4 5/8. It's a back pocket. Pull weight, I'm going to say it's a 7, maybe a light 7. On a cam tang, walk and talk, pretty doggone nice. And look at that, for a 4-inch plus long knife, look at the centering on that case. Near mint, no box. Sold listings on eBay ranging between $105 and $150. We ran this last week at $95. I thought, that'll sell. Nope, didn't sell at $95. Didn't even sell at $80, which is the price on Saturday. This week, $70 like it is. $95 with my edge. It's the Case Bose back pocket. Next up, on to the fresh stuff. We're going to start it off with a big old fixed blade from a company who makes pretty doggone nice fixed blades. Work Tuff Gear. I think they make these in Taiwan. So, I don't know how to say this. The Atayal, I don't know. That's the model, the Atayal, in satin blade finish with the OAL camo, no choil. I really don't, those are two words I don't know. I don't think I usually have shown you this one. We have a Work Tuff knife, but it comes with this poly bag of stuff. Looks like there's a microfiber cloth, a Velcro patch, a wrench and some screws for your handle scales, and some paracord for a lanyard. The knife comes in a really nicely made Kydex sheath with a tech lock. Let's see. There's no rattle. Let's see how it breaks. It's kind of a silly. Breaks pretty good. Breaks pretty good. Let's get that out of the way. Here we go, boys. Look at that. Mike Stewart would love this knife. Why? Because Mike Stewart loves a trailing point. He doesn't really see any other reason to use any other style blade for hunting. I don't know what you would use this trailing point on for hunting, because it's 8 7/8 inches of blade in SK85 steel, which is basically 1085. Got a little heat treat scale left on the flats, almost a little brute deforged thing going on. Super cool. Here's your OWAL camo. So it looks to me like you got FDE, flat dark earth, and black G10 layered, and then milled in kind of a diamond pattern. It should be super grippy, especially when wet. The handle length is 5 1/8. These Work Tuff fixed blades come with a super nice convex polished edge, so you don't need me to work on it. It's ready to go. These are $159 when they're available on Work Tuff's website. They are currently not. Oh, by the way, there's a little brown liner in there if you didn't see that. And then you'd have to pay postage, right? So you'd probably be, with tax and postage, bumping up against $200 to buy a new one of these. This one can be yours like new, in box with all the goodies. $130 shipped priority mail, no need to sharpen. The Work Tuff Gear Atayal. I don't know if that's how you say that. This would be hard to get. There we go. There we go. All right. Next up, got one from Cold Steel. I remember working on this knife not too long ago. This very one. It is the Cold Steel 4-inch G10 Ti-Lite. Kind of a fresh take on an old design. Look at that G10. It's got a very fine mill pattern. Almost looks like a blasted satin, but I don't think it is. Those scales are super handsome on this knife. Totally murdered. Got the new Cold Steel logo stamped into the right-hand tip-up clip. You can deploy this either with a thumb stud, or if you're very talented, I suppose you could front flip it. The blade in black PVD coated S35VN, knife made in Taiwan. And you may notice it's wearing an Apostle P edge. Might be a little smudged up. Let me see if I can do that without cutting my sweatshirt. There we go. Not exactly a fun knife to sharpen, kind of wedgy geometry. This one, however, will cut. The blade, 4 inches in length. The handle, 4 7/8. Lockup rock solid on phosphor bronze and paper thin Teflon washers. Blade centering is what? How can this be? Actually, Cold Steel generally does very well with their centering. This one, no exception. Near mint inbox, basically like new plus my edge. You can buy this knife brand new at your favorite web retailer for $142 plus. This one, with my edge already on it, $115, no need to sharpen. The Cold Steel Ti-Lite 4-inch G10 with an Apostle P edge. Next up, got one from Microtech. What a sweetie. I didn't like these knives originally when I saw them, but the more time that passes and the more of them I see, I think I would kind of want one. It is the 121-10 DBL, which stands for Distressed Blue, right? It's an Ultratech single edge with apocalyptic finish on the bare metal parts. And here it is. Look at that little gorgeous thing. I first started seeing this finish on the Bounty Hunter series from Microtech, but then they sort of expanded it to the other colorways. It's hard anodized and tumbled, and it looks so cool, and you don't have to worry about it. So the apocalyptic finish on the bare parts is kind of an acid stonewash, right? So clip, nut, button, and blade. The blade, by the way, is an M390. acid stonewash or apocalyptic fuller swedge and main bevel, and then horizontal satin flats. Gorgeous droppy spear. 3 3/8 blade, 5 inches of handle all the way to the end. Yeah, it's got normal play. Medium firm button, 100% reliable. Serial number is 201502, born May of 2021. Like new in box. These are out of stock. Currently, when they were available, they were $310 web retail. Let's do this one at $260, like it is $290 with an ApostleP edge. That's the Ultratech single edge in distress blue from Microtech. Next up, I just love it when we have their stuff on the sale. Yep, from Three Rivers Manufacturing, USA. We got a Nerd liner lock in rosewood techwood. Rosewood, by the way, in the knife industry is anything stained with a red cast. Who knows what it really is. But techwood is a laminated or a plywood product with thick layers. At least the top layer seems to be pretty thick because it's got a little bit of crowning, but it appears to be one continuous piece. Either that or it's just really nicely finished. Beautiful little knife. It opens with a blind hole, I guess I would call it, on phosphor bronze washers. Blade steel is 20 CV. Blade length 2 1/4. The handle 3 5/16. It is a liner lock knife. Locks up thusly. Early but secure. Rock solid. Centering dead. Pocket clip, right hand tip up, deep carry. Got one little smudge on the clip right by the hole. So let's see, we'll call it near mint in box. Scuff noted. These are out of stock right now. When they were available, they had a web retail of $220. Let's go $175 on this one. $200 if you'd like it with my edge. That is the Nerd from Three Rivers Manufacturing. Next up, I got a little beauty from Spyderco. Yes, I do. Little baby Spidey box. Looks like this one comes to us from Golden, Colorado, USA. Earth by way of Blade HQ. I'll show you how I know that. It is a little native. And what steel? You might have seen it from the model number. You know this this outfit, don't you? This colorway, this theme. Natural or Jade G10 are your scales. The lock is a compression lock, and the blade in DLC coated CPM M4. Let's see. The action drops freely. The centering is down the middle. Lock up, rock solid. Blade length 2 7/16. Handle length 3 1/2. Near mint in box. Why didn't I call it like new? Maybe there's a couple little scuffs in the clip, maybe. That is, by the way, an ambidextrous tip up deep carry wire clip. So let's see, what do we know about these? They're discontinued, not of stock. Sold listings on eBay between $185 and $250. This one, a pretty righteous example, in great condition, $140. $140 like it is. $165 with an ApostleP edge. I don't own one of these. Next up, here's an interesting one. Another Spidey. Says on the box it's a pair of 3 CPM S35VN, and it is. Here you go. Not only S35VN with those gorgeous brown G10 scales, all black hardware, and a DLC blade in S35VN. Okay, so this knife is going to be inexpensive, but there's some reasons why it's going to be inexpensive. If you notice, that blade profile of the cutting edge, a little different. The blade was actually tipped slightly, so this one measures 2 15/16. It couldn't have been much because I think they're only 3 inches to start with. And then it's been sharpened. Not a polished edge. I'm going to call it a pretty nice user applied edge, and it's pretty sharp, so you know. Now I played with this knife a little bit, and frankly, I can't tune it right? It's just one of those knives. There's a little side play, very little, and it doesn't quite drop free. And the centering is not quite squared away. It's going to favor that bottom scale a little bit. Is that horrible? No. Is it a perfect pair of three? No. No real damage or excessive carry wear anywhere. So, you know, overall condition, I'm calling excellent to near mint. Yeah. So they were a sprint run. They are out of stock. When they were available, they had a map retail of, so web retail of $156. This one can be yours, $110 for a pretty nice user pair of three, $135 if you'd like it with my edge on it. Next up, man, this is so cruel because I think last week I ran one of these, or a couple weeks ago, and somebody saved me from myself, and here's another one from Spyderco. It's the Endela Blue M390, or K390. K390. I'm sorry about that. Much different steel than M390. I don't call that blue, I call it dark teal. The color of these fiberglass reinforced nylon scales. And I think these came with a bright clip, and this owner changed it to a tumble polished Spidey clip, which frankly looks much better. Mid-lock with the boy dent to avoid accidental release of the lock. It's the Goldilocks of the mid-lock Spideys, right? Between a Delica, the Del in Endela, and the Endura of the of the Endela, right? You get a 3 7/16 blade, a 4 11/16 handle, great ergos, I think better than either the Delica or the Endura, truly a Goldilocks knife. Because it's K390, you're going to get a little smoky, brownish patina, and this knife has it a little bit. If it really bugged you, it's not bad enough that it wouldn't flitz off very quickly, but it's there, right? Lockup is rock solid. Action pretty nice and free for a mid-lock Spidey. Centering is very close, like very, very close. You might call it perfect. So these are available brand new. They're in stock at several retailers for $148 Spyderco map price. This one can be yours for $100 like it is $130 to sharpen. And by the way, I sharpened the other one of these that I just sold yesterday, and I was shocked how thinly ground these are. Like thinly ground. You could back up that bevel to probably 14 degrees without it looking wonky, and I bet that would just be an absolute laser. But anyway, there you go. The Endela, Teal, and K390. Next up, another Spidey, also from Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. It is a native 5. Here we go. I think the best incarnation of the native. This one right here, just a super solid pocket knife. Black G10 scales, 4-way clip mount. This one is mounted for right-hand tip up currently. It is a mid-lock with the Para 2 bushing pivot, right? So although these natives aren't super flickable because of the buried hole, look at this. Free dropping action, rock solid lockup. The blade is a gorgeous, gorgeous tumble polished S30V. Looks like it might have been touched up. It's pretty doggone sharp. Maybe it hasn't been, I don't know. So you saw the lockup and the action. Let's take a look at the centering. If I can get you, there we go. I'm calling it dead. Condition will be near mint in box. Current map pricing for these knives, online retail, $202. This one could be yours at $130 like it is, $155 with an Apostle P edge. Nothing sexy, just an extremely good user Spyderco, which is what made Spyderco Spyderco. Next up, had one of these, was it last week? It sold like in a flash. Here's another one. Another one made in USA. It's a Manix 2 lightweight with the mint FRN scales and the blade in CPM M4. And frankly, if you're going to buy this knife, and it is a Blade HQ exclusive, you got to buy it with the black hardware and the DLC blade, or it just looks wrong. This one looks quite right, I think. Okay, so your standard Manix 2 lightweight, dimensionally, of course. So you get 3 3/8 inches of DLC coated M4. You get free drop in action. You got 4 11/16 inches of minty FRN handle, caged ball lock, phosphor bronze washers. Lockup is dead rock solid. Action is free swinging. The centering is hard to see. Come on. But I'm calling it off. It favors the top. You might call it close. I'm calling it off. Anyway, it's not bad. So these are currently $135 at Blade HQ. And this is near mint to like new in box. Can be yours, all in, shipped priority mail, $100. Like it is, $130 with my edge on that M4 blade, which I highly recommend. Next day sharpening is available also. The Manix 2 lightweight mint DLC M4. Next up, we have one from the Tidioute line of Great Eastern Cutlery in a long tube. It is the 97 Allegheny model 9711119er. Comes with a button. Yeah. Oh, you get a knife too. Here we go. 4 11/16 inches of a Coke bottle near Barlow. Would we say that's a Barlow? I don't know. Big old nickel silver bolsters and end caps, hot dog shield, maroon linen micarta covers, brass liners, and a stunning, I mean stunning, clip point blade. Cut swedge, long pull, $10.95. Patty's potato peelers etch. Yes. One little flea bite, a little black spot right near the ricasso. A couple superficial hairline scratches. Now the complaint on these knives was pull weight when they were new. This one is pretty firm for a 97 Allegheny. I'm going to call it a 6.5. Now that doesn't mean it's firm. It means it's firm for an Allegheny. But listen to the walk and talk. Yeah, not bad at all. And the centering is perfect. It's very, very close if it's not perfect. These are out of stock, of course. Sold listings on eBay, all in other covers. Couldn't find a maroon linen, and I took out the stags, right? So those are doing sold listings between $225 and $400. These knives have definitely come up in value from their original secondary situation. We're going to do this one for $150, like it is. $175 with an Apostle P edge. That is the 97 Allegheny from Great Eastern Cutlery. Next up, I don't know. This is going to take some kind of old dog collector to want this knife. It's going to come in this little cheesecloth outer bag and then a camo belt pouch. Look at that, it even has a price tag on it. I don't know why. The knife is, it's a little old K-bar. A little K-bar boy's knife. But with some pretty nice stag covers. Looks like nickel silver bolsters, brass liners. It's 3 3/16 inches enclosed length. I'm going to show you the pen blade first, which looks like it may never have been used or sharpened. Carbon steel, obviously. Blades are on cams. The main blade, well, it wasn't a safe queen. The clip point has been sharpened a bit. Maybe a bit too much. But guys, it walks. It talks. Yeah. Anyhow, we're going to say the condition is good. No box. Your price, $20, shipped priority mail. That means my seller goes in the hole for like 60 cents or 40 cents after he pays postage and commission. Somebody needs to love that little guy. That is the K-Bar Vintage Boys Knife. Next up, got to turn my page. An interesting product from Scout Leather Company, but it's not leather. What it is they call it the stubby bit driver. It's a pretty interesting tool. It is a 1/4-inch hex bit driver in kind of orange peel finished aluminum. And the cap is also a pivot. So you could, see if I can do this right. You can spin it against your palm, right? But it's not just a pivoting top, it's a cap with a magnet. There. There's where your bits are stored. Looks like the cylinder of a revolver. ZT should make a knife with that theme. Only my old fans will get that. Anyhow, it is 2 3/4 inches in length. Overall diameter is 1 3/16. It's like new, no box. They sell these on the Scout Leather Company website for $125. This one can be yours, $50, shipped priority mail. No need to sharpen. The Scout Leather Company 1/4-inch bit driver. Next up, oh guys, we have one from Andrew Demko. Demko knives. Custom shop, made in USA. It is an AD20. Yellow number 2. For those of you who follow Demko knives, you know this knife. For those of you who don't, it's a mind blower. So, a custom shop AD20 shark lock, yellow number 2. I think that's a reference to the dye, the food dye, because notice that is not FRN. That's not Grivery. That is diamond milled G10 in a rather attractive yellow. All the hardware is stainless steel, tumbled, stonewashed. It's going to have a right-hand tip-up only clip. Opens with the slot. You get a robust clip point blade in CPM 3V. Although the knife is pretty sterile, doesn't really indicate anything except Demko Wampum PA on the pivot. Okay, what do we got here? 3 5/8 inches of blade, shark lock mechanism, ball bearing pivot, centering dead nuts. Lock up rock solid action. You saw it's perfect. So it is like new in box. They are discontinued. They are out of stock. When they were available new, they were $450. You can't find one anywhere, and there are no recent sold listings anywhere. I will tell you, my seller wanted to list this for $650. I said, no, you can't. Can't do it. But he is going to charge, and I agree. $495 for this one, which I think is a buy. $520 if you like my edge on it. The Demko Custom Shop AD20, yellow number 2. Next up, got another baby Spidey. A super cool little knife. It is a legend. It's a Dragonfly 2 salt serrated, which, by the way, if you're buying a salt Spyderco in H1 or H2, you want it serrated because this one is an H2. It is a work hardening, high nitrogen, stain free steel, right? So the more work you do, the harder it gets. The plain edge ones are okay, like 57, 58 Rockwell. When you serrate these things, that jumps up to over 60 in the serrated area. Yeah. And it's a utility knife, right? So here's the deal. Here's the deal. 2 1/4 inch blade, 3 3/8 handle. Probably the best ergonomics of a knife this size ever. Rock solid midlock, fairly free action. Centering is just about dead perfect. Condition is like new in box. You can buy these brand new at your favorite online retailer for $86 plus tax and shipping. Or you could just buy this one all in, $70, shipped priority mail. No need to sharpen. That's the Spyderco Dragonfly 2 Salt. Next up, it's our last Spyderco tonight, and here it is. From Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. It's a Manix 2 in 52-100. Gray G10 scales. 4 5/8 handle. Black hardware, black ball cage, black clip. Not sure how it got bright screws on it, but it's got bright screws. This is wearing an ApostleP edge, by the way. For some reason, however, in order to achieve some kind of a Boba Fett appearance, my consignor took emery cloth to the DLC coating. And it really doesn't appear that there was any damage in there. I don't know what happened, why he did that. I didn't do it. Definitely did it for a Boba thing. So let's see. The blade, by the way, 3 3/8. Rock solid lockup. Free swing in action. And I think the centering looks perfect. So we're going to call it excellent in box. Now I forgot the name of it. It was an exclusive for Blue Ridge. That's right, for Blue Ridge. And they're out of stock. Found one sold listing on eBay for this knife for $200. I bet it didn't have emery cloth taken to the DLC blade. This one, $110 with an ApostleP edge. The Spyderco Manix 2 Gray DLC 52-100 TAP. Next up, a very interesting piece here. From Benchmade's custom shop. The model number doesn't matter, I guess. CU535 SSS90V. It is a custom bug out in not aluminum. That is titanium, my friends. A pretty severe upcharge if you're building one of these on the Benchmade custom shop. Like $200 big, right? To go from G10 to titanium when you build a custom Benchmade. Tumble polished, deep carry, shorty clip, ambidextrous tip up. Yellow standoffs and studs. The blade in CPM S90V is 2 13/16 inches in length. That's wrong knife. I'm sorry. 3 1/4 is the blade, 4 1/4 is the handle. Of course, it's an axis lock on phosphor bronze. Very near free dropping blade. Perfect centering. Perfect lockup, condition like new in box. So, I built this knife on Benchmade's website for a pricing reference. It'll run you $440 plus your state sales tax, which ain't cheap on that price level, and postage. So let's see. So about $31 in sales tax if you're buying this in Indiana, plus about $10 to ship it. That would leave you about $480, I believe, to buy this new. And you're going to get, if I can open a Ziploc, a milled titanium pocket clip from RGT. It's not installed, but here's how it would look if it were, right? A little different finish because the clip is stone washed and the titanium scales are glass bead blasted. Don't want to lose that screw. But anyway, that's probably 25 bucks at least, isn't it? So you got over 500 bucks worth of stuff, taxed and shipped. And we're going to offer this for 400 bucks like it is, 430 with my edge. That's the Benchmade Custom Shop Bug Out Ti S90. Next up, we've got one from the Benchmade Knife Company. It is a 533-3 mini bug out. Yes. Glistening satin finished crown carbon fiber scales, blue hard anodized aluminum backspacer and thumb stud, parkerized shorty deep carry clip ambidextrous tip up, a diminutive blade of 2 13/16 inches in S90V. It is a first production run knife. The handle 3 13/16, and for such a tiny knife, pretty good in the hand, I got to say. That little bit of crowning really helps. Axis lock mechanism, phosphor bronze washers and thumb studs, rock solid lockup. Let's see. Not quite a free dropper, but close. Eminently flingable. Lockup, dead rock solid. Centering, ooh. It don't get much more perfect than that, boys. Condition like new in box. You can't buy a first production run mini bug out in carbon fiber brand new anymore, but you can buy this one. I do know this. The regular production examples of this can be purchased online at your favorite web retailer for, wait for it, $288. This one, an extinct first production run knife, $240 like it is, $270 with an ApostleP edge. That's the 533-3 mini bug out carbon fiber S90 first production run from Benchmade. Next up, back in the day when Benchmade was using this style box, there were two ways you could get a gray box like this. One way would be that you sent your knife in for service, and this is the box they would ship it back in. Or, as in this case, it housed a Doug Ritter knife. In this case, it is a mini Griptilian Ritter grip. The factory Norel GTX scales are in the box, as is a kind of beat up, painted Emerson style clip. This one isn't wearing either one of those. It's wearing some scales you can't buy anymore. These are the Knife Ship Free contoured carbon fiber scales that I think were about $100 when Derek was selling them. And then the knife has a tumble polished split arrow clip. The blade is M390. the blade length, 2 13/16. The handle is 3 7/8. And if you've never had a set of these knife ship free contoured griptilian scales in your hand, you're missing out. So the action is not quite free dropping, but has 0 blade play. And the centering, boys, if it ain't perfect, it's awful close. Near mint inbox, extinct. Both the knife and the scales are extinct and unobtainium. Your price on this one, $275 like it is $305 with my edge. The Benchmade Mini Ritter Grip plus knife ship free carbon fiber scales. What a piece. Next up, we have reached the point in tonight's sale where it's time for the Rob's Pick. And I made this the Rob's Pick for one reason only, to keep me from buying it. Because, oh, I want it. But it's just not in the budget. From Benchmade, we have a black class knife. It is the 575GY-2001 Mini Presidio 2. We'll wait till you see it, guys. Yeah. So Benchmade calls these scales burnt bronze hard anodized aluminum. It's gorgeous. It's very granular. It's gorgeous. The clip, it almost looks like DLC. It's not Parkerized. I don't know. But it's not painted. It's very handsome. It looks like it's going to be very durable. It's ambidextrous tip up, deep carry with the stamped butterfly. The blade on this limited production run knife, number 889 of 1,000, is in dark gray, Cerakoted, CPM M4. Blade length 3 1/8, handle 4 5/16. Axis lock mechanism, phosphor bronze washers, and thumb studs. Not quite a free dropper, but flickable. Centering is very close. Condition will be near mint in box. There are a couple very tiny little scuffs in the hard anodized coating right on that first corner line. Barely visible. So, they are discontinued and out of stock. Sold listings on eBay ranging between $221 and $326, and it was a pretty good sample size. Your price on this one, $210 like it is $240 with my edge. That is the Mini Presidio 2 Bronze M4 Limited Edition. What a beauty. That's the Rob's Pick tonight. Next up, we got one from Hinder. Yes, we do. It is the half-track Warncliffe tri-way pivot working finish with blue G10. I love a label that makes sense. The frame, whoops, come on, Rob, and the blade are the working finish, kind of an acid stonewash. The steel, 20 CV. Blade length, 2 13/16. Handle, 3 7/8. Blade centering is perfect. Lockup is dead rock solid on the steel inserted titanium frame lock. Ball bearings are installed in the pivot, but it's kind of a double clutcher with a detent. Snappy detent, by the way. Got some little rub action going on in the clip, but very little. There's your blue G10 scale. Standoffs are installed in the MBS, modular backspacer system. Condition will be near mint in box. They are out of stock. If you could buy this knife new, which you can't, it would cost you $425, but you can't. Your price on this one, just $410, like it is, $440 with my edge, the Hinderer, half track, Warncliffe. Next up, oh, what a beauty. What a beauty. From Chris Reeve Knives, we have a small Sebenza 31 inlay, and the inlay is box elder burl. The steel is MagnaCut. Here is your birth card. MagnaCut blade, drop point, titanium handle with box elder inlays. Built March 6th of this year. Comes with the Think Twice, Cut Once pocket slip. And here's the little beauty. Very blonde box elder burl, and it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. And that little piece on the business side is super gorgeous. It is wearing a milled titanium pocket clip. I do not have the original clip. The lanyard has been untied, and then a little piece has been cut to retain the post quietly. The remains of the lanyard are in the box. Gold anodized thumb studs and rear standoffs. Blade length, 3 inches. Handle, 3 15/16. It has a Reeve integral lock with a ceramic ball lock interface. Fairly early for a 31 lockup. It is dead rock solid. Action is pretty doggone nice. Nearly a free dropper. Can't really do much better than that from the factory, I don't think. Condition will be near mint in box. They are out of stock, as usual. If you could buy one of these brand new, and you can order one directly from Chris Reeve. You'll see it in 6 months to a year, and you'll pay $575. Or you could just buy this one, $525 like it is, $555 with my edge on the MagnaCut blade. The Chris Reeve Small Sebenza 31, box elder and MagnaCut. Next up, I promised you guys I had some sharpening stuff for sale this week. Yeah, so here we go. We have a DMT diamond sharpener in this here box. Yeah, we do. So this would be the bench stone variety, right? Your diamond encrusted perforated plate standing up on a little block, right? This is the extra fine grit. So a great touch-up or maintenance stone, right? And you're going to get with it a little tiny, genuine Arkansas oil stone. So let's see, these sell brand new for $45, plus you get that. And let's see, we're going to do the whole shooting match for $30 for the DMT Extra Fine Diamond Bench Stone plus the bonus Arkansas Oil Stone. Next up, it's time for a Microtech. The knife inside this beautiful box is the 260M-7 CFTI SOCOM Bravo Mini. Single-edged, bead blast standard finish, blue titanium pivot collars, carbon fiber scales. What a little beaut that is. Yes. It is I guess we would call this a titanium bolster lock. Sort of. Usually that would wrap up into here, but anyway. It's a titanium frame lock with carbon fiber scales. The pocket clip is right hand tip up only milled titanium. There are your blue titanium pivot collars. Thumb stud operation, ball bearing pivot. Blade length is 3 7/16. The handle is 4 5/16. Very efficient blade to handle ratio. There's your lock engagement with the steel inserted lock face. It is rock solid. Blade centering is Microtech perfection. Condition is near mint to like new in box. These knives are available brand new at your favorite web retailer for $280. Your price on this one, $190. $190 like it is, $220 with my edge. That's the SOCOM Bravo Mini single edge from Microtech. Next up, we have another tech. This one, a ProTech, also a manual knife. It is the 5206 Malibu Flipper, reverse tanto, textured handle, black DLC, and 20 CV. Not only all those goodies do you get, and you do get them, but you also get a glistening polished edge from the TheApostleP Knife Service. Oh, ooh, it's sticky. You've got 3 5/16 inches of reverse tanto blade. You've got 4 3/16 inches of beautifully diamond mill textured black hard anodized aluminum. Cool fine gear pattern backspacer with a very sweet hidden lanyard attachment. Black right hand tip up deep carry pocket clip. Button lock mechanism. And ball bearings. Blade centering is dead down the middle. Flipping action is beautiful, and everything is great on this knife. Lock up, rock solid. Near mint, inbox. Out of stock. If you could buy a new one, it would run you $280, but you can't buy a new one. Your price for this one, though, $210 like it is, no need to sharpen. The ProTech 5206 Malibu Flipper, textured, 20 CV, TAP, murdered. Next up, it's watch time. A little break in the action. And we've got one from Seiko. I think this is the first one of these I've ever had in my hand, I think. Comes in that box with a little inner box. It is the SRPD 59er. The watch community knows this as a 5KX. So it's the successor to the SKX, right? They upgraded the movement and they removed some of the dive features. There's your hang tag. Here's the watch. So what you got? You've got an SKX case. 42 millimeters diameter, 46 lug to lug, 13 thick, and a 22 millimeter lug width. Polished sides, radial brushed lug tops. 4 o'clock crown. It is a push-pull crown, no screw down. Water resistance 100 meters, not 2. It is not a certified diver. It does have 120 click unidirectional bezel. And I think it lines up very close. So the bezel insert is aluminum, kind of an orangey gold for the markers on the bezel insert. Kind of an interesting combination. On the dial, you have that gorgeous orange sunburst, day date. The embossed indices are bright, like silver. The hands are gilt. It's got all the links in the bracelet and little to no wear, just one tiny little rub right there on the clasp. Some very light hairlines on the polished sides. Would be an easy polish. And check this out, guys. This is my tuna. See where it's running? I know this watch is about 1 second behind my atomic G-Shock. This Seiko has been running for about 24 hours. And I'm going to say it's running a dead heat with my tuna. So it's lost about 1 second in 24 hours. That's stunning performance for a 4R36. So yeah, there you go. Sold listings on eBay for this watch between $194 and $199. I'm sorry, that's your web retail. $194 to $199. Joma Shop and Amazon. Your price for this one, $135. No need to sharpen. The SRPD 59 from Seiko. Next up, we've got our last traditional slip joint in the sale from the Tidioute cutlery line of Great Eastern. We got an Urban Jack, model 153224. Going to come with an Urban Jack button, of course. The knife covered in rather stunning bocote, I must say. Look at that, would ya? Ooh. Nickel silver bolsters and shield, brass liners. Main blade, a sheep's foot, cut swedge, long pull, and a bearded dude. Secondary implement, well, it's a comb. It says bar tool. I'm not sure what you would do with that at the bar. You could comb your beard with it, though. Closed length, 3.5. Pull weight, 6. Walk and talk, perfect. Centering is hard to see. I called it perfect. It's pretty perfect. Near mint in tube with button. Sold listings on eBay ranging between $172 and $191. I don't think you're going to find a nicer one, especially with that wood. Let's do $160 on this one. $180 with an Apostle P edge on that sheep's foot blade. The GEC Tidioute number 15 Urban Jack. Next up, a pretty interesting little fixed blade from Coppice Design. I met John Blotzis, 8 years ago at a Bark River grind-in. He was sort of hanging with Matt and Jenna Martin at the time. And this is a collaboration between John and Ed's Manifesto, designed and made in the United States of America. Right there. Kill 'em with kindness. Coppice Design. Nice sticker. The knife is pretty cool. This is the LVIA-1 field knife, which is an interesting nomenclature, I think. So you got a little fold-over Kydex sheath, very nicely made, zero rattle. Notice the thumb, it looks like it would be like this, right? So you'd expect a thumb break here. That's not where it is. It's out here. Why? Because that's the knife. I'm not sure how this got to be a field knife, but I'm kind of impressed. Looks like a very carbon-rich, overmolded FRN handle. The blade stock is 60 thousandths. And then you've got a hand satin on large flats and then a Scandi ground bevel. And guys, I don't want to sharpen that because it's so good. So yeah. You got a 2 3/8 blade in 154 cm, a 4 3/16 handle, and I think there's a lot of ways you could employ this knife. Field knife, that's hilarious. Would it be a great whittler? Yeah. Great for lots. Would it peel potatoes? Yeah. Could it do other things? Yeah. Very nicely made. I think. So these are out of stock. When they were available, they were $250 web retail. This one can be yours, $90 shipped priority mail. No need to sharpen on the Coppice Designs Elvia 1 field knife. Next up, old pair of blue jeans right here, boys, from the Benchmade Knife Company. It's the 942 Osborne, 940-2 Osborne. I think we sold one of these last week. It sold in about 5 minutes. I love the -2 because it's the best user of all the 940s. 3D machine black G10 scales, toxic green standoff for just a little pop of color, a little fun in an all-business knife. Parkerized Emerson-style Benchmade clip, ambidextrous tip up, axis lock mechanism, phosphor bronze washers and thumb studs, a very near free dropper with rock solid lockup, and perfect blade centering. We'll call it near mint in box. Current web retail for this model is $207 at your favorite web retailer. This one can be yours, $150 like it is, $175 with an Apostle P Edge, the Benchmade 940-2 Osborne. And that, my friends, brings us to the last item in tonight's sale. It is from SOG. The model inside is the Kiku XR in Grey G10, designed by some guy named Kiku. Pretty spectacular knife, I say. Sort of a modified Anso pattern, Grey G10 scale set. I love how the Anso pattern is interrupted with this, almost looks like a fuller down the middle of the scale, which makes it work and play well with the clip. How about that? You do get 2 ambidextrous tip-up deep carry pocket clips because they're curved. So you use one for the left side if you're a lefty. Has the XR lock. Nothing at all like a Benchmade axis lock, of course. And it flips. It is on ball bearings. Blade steel is cryogenically tempered CTS XHP, which I would expect to be a superfine steel. We have a nightmare ground recurve Tonto sort of thing. Made in Taiwan. Blade length is 3 inches. The handle is 4 1/4. You can flip it. You can thumb it with the hole. Lock up, rock solid. You saw the action, and how about that centering? Perfect. We'll call it near mint in box. Price of these brand new if you want one. Go to your favorite web retailer and shell out $229 plus tax, or just buy this one, $150 like it is, $180 with an Apostle P Edge. That is the SOG Kiku XR in gray. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of another weekly knife sale on the Apostle P channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Remember, the word is sharp. Now commence to click it.